And he looked like a really good man. This young officer, I don't know what she was thinking. I don't know what she was thinking, but I'm very, very troubled by that.
The Fraternal Order of Police endorsed Trump last week, but their executive director scolded Trump to be mindful of due process before jumping to conclusions.
Eddie, the shooting in obviously in Oklahoma, there's just absolutely no explanation for it. It's not like Ferguson where we've got to talk to a lot of different witnesses. It's not even like Freddie Gray in Baltimore. We've got eyes in the sky over that, and we see exactly what's happening.
Right, we do. And, you know, Joe, this is such a difficult ritual where we have to witness over and over again, it seems, the senseless death of someone in the black community. And the fact is that we have the evidence. We have already seen the kind of narrative that is being spun. Police said they found PCP in the car. She said he appeared as if he was on drugs. That this was the most she's ever feared in her life. I think that's a paraphrase of what she said.
But look at him, Eddie. I know you've seen this. Hands against his car, legs spread apart, walking slowly. I don't know what people she's seen on PCP before. He does not look like a man under the influence of anything. Look at that.
And Joe, we can extract a person who planted bombs in Chelsea. That person can come out alive. Your car can stall on a highway.
Yeah.
And you're dead.
Look, and we're showing again. We're showing from behind, walking slowly, hands in the air, doing absolutely everything that the police would ask him to do. Hands now up again. Look, 7, 8 cops. You're exactly right. You can find a terrorist, get him out alive, but a guy in an SUV, arms in the air, Eddie. It seems to me, Eddie, there is absolutely no way that they can have the area's prosecutor handle this. They have got to have somebody that's independent and outside that region, because unless there is more evidence that comes out, I don't know how you don't charge this police officer.
I completely agree. I completely agree. But look, this is part of, and we can connect this to Charlotte if we want to, this is part of the problem, right? So there's a sense in which we see this video, and then there's this insistence that African Americans across the country, that Americans generally, trust the process. But it's precisely the process that's called into question in these moments, Joe. Right. And let me just say this really quickly. One of the most exhausting things about being black in this country is that we have to convince people. We have to convince white America of what is actually happening in our communities. And here we have a video, clearly a video, of a man with his hands up, seemingly complying in every way, shape, form, or fashion, just as we thought we saw with Philando Castile. And what do we get
it's what we saw with Eric Gardner.
Exactly. And what do we get in the end? We get a dead black man in the street.
It seems to me, Mika, again, we've obviously been going over this an awful lot, but two things, bare minimum, have to happen on a state and national level. Number one, body cameras on every cop. We needed to see what was happening on ground level. Mm-hmm. And if the camera is disabled at the time of a killing, then the burden of proof is on the cop to explain why his or her body cam was not working. And secondly, you have to have independent prosecutors looking at this from outside the districts from where these shootings occur. See, those are two basic steps, but they would go a long way in stopping these trends.
Go ahead, Eddie.
But Joe, even let's look at the context of North Carolina. North Carolina just passed a law saying that they would not release video footage, right, body camera footage to the public. Right. So even if we get it,
that's a Justice Department question. This is a national tragedy. It impacts law enforcement officers across the nation. The Justice Department should step in and need to take control of this. This is a problem that North Carolina can't say, hey, this is particular to our state. It's nationwide.
I would also just say, when they talked about finding PCP in the car, why did that mean he had to be shot? I mean, if they found weed in my car, they found a bag of something in my car, or I looked like I was drunk or I was on something, they wouldn't shoot me.
Hey, guess what? If you were white,
well, that's what I mean.
If you're white, if you're from the neighborhoods that we live in, and your arms are in the air, you could have like pounds of coke in the back, right, and be straight out of Miami. And you wouldn't get treated like that.
Exactly, Joe. Exactly, Joe. Exactly.
It gets to the other question that you need right now. You need a full forensic breakdown of what happened here. You need, why was the car stopped in the middle of the road? Why was there such, for Tulsa, Oklahoma, apparently a rural road, no other traffic, you didn't see any traffic. Why such a massive police presence? Who shot first, the taser or the lethal shot to the person? And then you've got to figure out, we have to figure out, white America has to figure out the reality that to be black in America is to view things like this as part of a daily epidemic, as part of a daily danger that arrives when you walk out of your apartment.
I actually think when you have Newt Gingrich saying this a couple of months back, you even have Donald Trump yesterday saying they choked. I think we're getting to a point where most of America understands that it is time for legislatures, for governors, for the AG, for Congress to step up and take
at the same time,
basic steps of reform.
But yesterday you had Donald Trump, clearly a graduate of the Trump University Law School, calling for the reinstallation, stop and frisk nationwide. Stop and frisk. Right. Well, in these two cases, you've got two dead black citizens of the United States of America who were already stopped.